Okay.
Hi guys, welcome to See Beyond Magazine Experts Corner. I am Aura Imbarus, your host, and today I'm absolutely blessed to have an amazing guest speaker, Dr. Bruce Lipton. Hi Bruce, how are you?
I am so happy to be here with you. It's such a joy when we get a chance to talk and talk about the world and changes. And as importantly, I'm so happy because I love your community. These are all these young cultural creative people and some elder cultural creative people that are saying, how can I take charge of my life, in a world that looks very strange? And the fact is, between you and I, we have some wonderful things to share about how to
Absolutely.
empower them. So I'm happy the audience is here. Thank you.
Thank you. So for the ones who really don't know, but by now you should have heard about Dr. Bruce Lipton. Dr. Bruce Lipton is a well-renowned speaker. He is an internationally recognized leader in stem cells biology, yes, and best-selling author of The Biology of Belief, which I absolutely adore, and I use that book. I'm teaching that book actually, The Spontaneous Evolution and the honeymoon effect. Also, Dr. Bruce Lipton was teaching at one point for Wisconsin University, and he actually was a researcher for Stanford University for the School of Medicine. And here we have him today. Aren't we blessed or what?
Geez, I hope so. I know that between us, we have such vital information about how people have lost their power, but how they can get that power back and become a creator of their life rather than a victim of
Absolutely.
circumstances.
And I think that's what our new generation needs to know. So Bruce, in 1967, literally you started cloning stem cells, okay?
Yes.
At that point, people didn't even know how to spell stem cell, okay?
There were just a few of us in the whole world that even knew what a stem cell was back in 1967.
And you literally created a brand new branch of science called epigenetics. So,
Well, I didn't name it, darling, but I sure saw the meaning of it and recognized it and realized that this new insight is a revolution in science that is equal. It's equal to the revolution from Newtonian physics to quantum physics, how the world changed from that quantum physics. I mean, computers, rockets, and all that.
right.
This change in belief about genetics is equally powerful in making change on this planet, because it will give people an opportunity to take power over their lives. And this is what we need at this time of strangeness.
Of course, of course. Well, tell me a little bit, I mean, for the ones who are familiar with the terminology epigenetics, but for the ones who are not, just tell me a little bit about the terminology itself. What is epigenetics?
Well, first, let's talk about what the general belief is that the public holds. So most people hold a belief in something called genetic determinism. It simply means genes determine the character of your life. So people believe whatever they inherited as genes, their life is going to be programmed by that. So if there's cancer running in your family, you feel, oh my God, I'm going to get the genes for the cancer or cardiovascular disease or diabetes or Alzheimer's. And the belief is really disempowering, because it says I'm a victim of these genes. And this is what we're teaching. We were teaching people, we were teaching them genes turn on and off, and genes control the character, and you don't control the genes, they control you. And by definition, we become victims of our heredity. Whatever the negative genes are running through the family, you receive them. It's like, oh my God, I have no control over this. So genetic determinism, the belief that most people have that genes control their lives and genes turn on and off, is a belief of being a victim or being powerless. My genes run me, I don't run my genes.
Right.
So people live in fear of having inherited these genes, and then the belief that they will get these issues. The new science reveals something very profoundly important, and that is this. Genes, let me use a complex word for a second. Genes are not self-actualizing. That big phrase, not self-actualizing, means genes cannot turn themselves on and off. Genes do not control their own behavior, their own expression. Genes are blueprints. And as I emphasize in the lecture, I say, you go into an architect's office and she's working on a blueprint, and you ask her, you say, is your blueprint on or off? And that architect will look at you and she'll go, what are you, crazy? It's a blueprint. There's no on and off. It's a blueprint. And I go, precisely. That's exactly what the issue is. DNA is a blueprint, but it doesn't regulate itself. And the whole belief that genes turn on and off is a false assumption. Now, can scientists recognize this is not true? Unfortunately, the public has still got the belief that the genes are going to give them diseases and cause issues and that they can't do anything about it. And I say, well, so what's the new science? The new science, genetic control is the old one. Genetic control means control by genes.
Correct.
The new science is called epigenetic control. And it sounds like almost the same thing, a little epi. And I go, that little epi is a revolution that'll change the planet, because epi means above. So when I say epigenetic control, the new science, it says control above the genes. Oh my God, the genes are not in control. No, genes don't control anything. I said, well, what's above? And I go, the environment, and more importantly, between the environment and your genes, between them is the mind. And so what controls the genes are the signals from the environment, and more specifically, the signals of the mind that are sent to the cells. And this controls and rewrites the genes. It's overriding. It can change any genes you have in your body. 1%, actually, less than 1% of disease is caused by genes. Less than 1%. I go, what is the rest of the disease coming from? And the answer is lifestyle, behavior, emotions. These are the things that precipitate disease. And I go, well, why is this relevant? And the answer is, well, those are things I can change. I can change my lifestyle. I can change my beliefs. I can change my... Oh, wait a minute. If those are controlling my genes and I can control those, the answer is epigenetics says we are masters of our genetics. We select the genes and we can modify the genes to conform to the world that we perceive, the one that we're living in. And all of a sudden it says, oh my God, we go from victims to masters. I say, why is it relevant? Because you don't need pharmaceutical drugs and you don't need all that stuff. You have to just recognize the healing is coming from the mind, because as we now know and we'll talk about, it's the disease that's coming from the mind. And if I change the mind, then I can eliminate disease. And I go, yes, you can be healthy and happy, and you can create, and that's the lovely word, create a life that is heaven on earth.
Wow.
And it's kind of fun. Most people, darling, have seen the movie The Matrix. And they say, oh yeah, that's that science fiction movie. And I go, no. The Matrix is a documentary. Yes, it's a true story. I say, what do you mean it's a true story? It's because in the movie, everyone has been programmed. I go, oh, well, this is what we now recognize in biology and conscious parenting, is that a child is being programmed during the first 7 years of its life.
Of course.
And then the rest of its life, it plays out the program. So whatever the program you got in the first 7 years is going to reflect what the rest of your life is. So we've all been programmed.
Yes.
And these programs control the rest of our lives. And I love it. This is this beautiful fact. I love a fact. The fact is, the Jesuits, for 400 years, the Jesuits have said, give me a child until it's 7, and I will show you the man. People heard this all the time, but I go, you didn't understand what they were saying. They were saying, give me a child to 7, meaning let me program the first 7 years of a child's life, and it will represent that person as the man when they grow up. And that's the true story. The first 7 years of programming, which we all received,
right,
determines the character of the rest of your life. And then in the movie, they say, well, you can take the red pill and get out of the program. And I go, what would it be like if you stopped playing the program that we got? All of us got 7 years. I said, what if we stopped playing that program? And then the answer is so much fun. The answer is so fun because almost everyone out there, if they're at least 20 years of age, has at one time or another fallen in love, big time, just and I go, think about it this way. Your life could stink every day, blah, 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 blah. And then that day you meet this one person who's like, oh, I've fallen in love. And the next day, you are healthier, you are happier, your world is like heaven on earth. I go, wait a minute. This is the same world you lived in every day. And then just yesterday, something happened, and now you have heaven on earth? And the answer is yes. And we know from science that when we fall in love like that, the beginning period of that love, we stay what they call mindful. Mindful means we don't let the programs play. And if you stop playing the programs just 24 hours, all you have to do is stop 24 hours that first day of being in love. And your second day, you're like, oh my God, life is so great. Life is so beautiful. Life is heaven on earth. And I go, it was available to you every day. You just yesterday did something different. You took the red pill. What was that? You fell in love, but that meant you became mindful, meaning you stopped defaulting to programs and started running your life with your wishes and desires. And when you do that, what did you manifest? Wishes and desires. You manifest heaven on earth. I'm saying, you could have done that any day. You had that power every day. You don't have to wait to fall in love. You just have to recognize, what was it? And I say, what it was you stopped thinking so much. And I say, why is that relevant? So now we have to summarize something you know so well, darling. Yeah, I have to summarize it though for the audience.
Please do it. Please do it for all the See Beyond Magazine's audience. Please do that.
The mind controls our genetics and our behavior. And we say the mind, everyone thinks, oh, that's the mind. I go, no, you see, that's the problem. There are two minds. And they work together, but they don't do the same thing. They have two different functions, and more importantly, they learn in two different ways. Mm-hmm. So I say, okay, what are the minds? I go, well, the newest mind is called the conscious mind, right behind your forehead. Prefrontal cortex of the brain is the newest addition. That is where you as an identity exists. That's where you as a spirit come into your body, where identity makes you different than everybody else's. Prefrontal cortex consciousness, conscious mind.
Conscious mind.
The conscious mind is unique. It's creative. And that's how humans have risen above other animals, because the conscious mind can create. So look, we're on computers. Look, we're generating broadcasts around the world here. And I said, where'd that come from? Creative conscious mind. Conscious mind, creative, has wishes and desires. So if I asked anybody out there, I said, tell me what you want in your life. Just tell me what you want. And you go, oh, I want to have such a great romance, or I really want to have a great job that makes a lot of money, or I want to really be healthy. I say, where did these visions come from of being healthy, having a job and all that? I say, the conscious creative mind. That's the one that can imagine. And if it can imagine, it can create. Okay, so I go, good. Then I say, but that's just the front part of the brain. The rest of the brain is called subconscious. And the definition of subconscious means below conscious. So it operates without you even knowing it's operating. So it's beating your heart right now. It's making the control. It's taking care of the breathing. It's digesting food. You don't have to know about that. But it also knows how to do things like walk, drive a car, because it's the habit mind.
Right.
Subconscious is habits. And so therefore what's important is, while conscious mind is creative and can have imagination, subconscious mind just plays programs. Push the button, play the program. Push the button, play the program. You got the program when you're 2. Think about this. You learned how to walk before 2. It's a program. The important part about that is you never had to learn how to walk again. once the program got installed, the habit mind holds on to the habit, because if it's a good habit like walking, you don't want to have to relearn
Hopefully.
it, right? Okay, so the habit mind holds on to programs, is not very creative, so it can just replay the programs, and the habit mind is resistant to change. Because
Mm-hmm.
if it changes, then you don't have habits. You have something. Oh, I remembered how to walk yesterday. I forgot how to walk. No, it's not. A habit is, I got it. I'm going to walk forever. People think the subconscious mind, it's got a very negative thing because of Freud and people like that. They go, oh, all the evil comes from the subconscious mind. I go, the subconscious mind is a record playback device, like a CD recorder, like an old-fashioned tape player. I say, why? It's a machine. It's not good or bad. It's a machine. It just makes recordings. Oh, the recordings can be good or bad. And I go, oh, yeah, well, that's true. But the subconscious mind is great. I mean, as I just said, you haven't had to learn how to walk again since 2. So that's pretty darn good. So I say, okay, so what's the issue? I say, well, the conscious mind, when you're running the show, is running with wishes and desires. So the conscious mind is you, and you have the hands on the wheel when the conscious mind is driving. This is what I want. I want health. I want success. I want love. And you drive, and you can get that, okay? And I say, but where's the problem? And I go, oh, there's one big problem. The conscious mind, it can think. So I say, Aura, tell me, what are you doing on Tuesday at 1 o'clock? If I ask you that question, and you're going to try to get the answer,
Mm-hmm.
where are you looking for the answer? Where is it? Is it on the table, or where? It's in your head.
Correct.
Ah, this
Or in
is
my
the,
iPhone.
well, yeah, well, that will help too. That will redirect you right there.
Absolutely.
The point about it is this: when you're thinking, the conscious mind that's paying attention
Mm-hmm.
goes inside to look for answers. Oh, Tuesday, what am I doing on Tuesday? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Oh, I go, oh, what does that mean? When you are thinking, the conscious mind lets go of the driving. It lets go of the wheel, goes inside, says, I got to look for some answers in here. I say, well, what if you're walking down the street? What if you're driving down the street and you have a thought and your mind lets go? I say, oh, the subconscious knows how to drive the car. The subconscious knows how to walk. The subconscious knows how to talk. Why? These are behaviors programs. You've done it your whole life, whatever. So I go, oh, this is the story. The conscious mind, when controlling the vehicle, driving,
Mm-hmm.
will take you to wishes and desires. But when the conscious mind is thinking, the subconscious program takes over, autopilot.
Yes.
And it takes you where the program goes. I go, yeah, but what's the problem? I go, the basic programs in the subconscious mind came in before age 7, and they shaped the character of our lives, but they came from observing other people. So your basic behaviors don't even come from you. They're copies of other people's behaviors, your mother, your father, your brother, sister, community. I go, this in the first 7 years, this is why everybody got programmed, because that's how we get off the ground. In my lectures, I show an iPod. I say, oh, I love this iPod, it plays music. So I went to the Apple store to buy a brand new iPod, and I take it out of the box. I spent all this money, and the front screen on the iPod is called touch screen, because I can create. I can make a playlist. I can adjust the volume. I can go fast forward. I can do all kinds of things on the creative touch screen. So the touch screen on the iPod is like conscious mind. It's creative. Okay, so I say, I buy this brand new iPod. I get out of the store. I open up the box. I take it out of the box. I'm so excited, brand new. And I take the screen and I push play. And nothing happens. And now it's like, I just spent all this money on this damn iPod and it's not working. And some little 7-year-old kid looks up at me and goes, well, mister, you didn't download any music. How do you expect to play any music? And I go, you can't be creative. You can't be creative if you don't have any programs.
Yes.
So that's why the first 7 years of our life is downloading programs by observing other people and then just recording their behaviors. And when we need that behavior, we push the button and play back the original behavior. But that original behavior wasn't from you. It was your mother, your father, your family, wherever. I go, why is it relevant? And the answer is, man, most of the stuff they downloaded is very negative and disempowering and limiting, all the things as a kid. How many things did we hear as a kid? Well, you can't do that. And who do you think you are? And you don't deserve this. And this is what parents say. And in the first 7 years, when the mind's recording, it just records whatever the parents say. Not deserving, not lovable, not good enough. And it's like, oh, well, those are my basic programs. That's what I recorded because I was on record. And that's what my parents said. So when I think, my behavior is shifted to autopilot, and the programs that play then aren't from me. They were copies of other people's programs. Most of them, I said, disempowering. And so all of a sudden I go, well, wait a minute. How much of the time is that? And now comes the kicker. And it's like 95% of the day.
That was my next question.
95% you are thinking, which means 95% of your life is not being controlled by wishes and desires. It's being controlled by programs, most of which are negative.
Right.
And then you say, well, if I'm playing negative programs, I would see I was playing negative programs. I go, no, you see, that's why I call it subconscious. When it plays, you don't see it playing. It just plays automatic like a tape. It's like a recording. It's just playing. I say, well, how come I can't see what's happening when I'm playing it? And the answer is, well, why is the tape playing? And the answer is, because conscious mind is busy. So if conscious mind is busy and the tape is playing, the program is playing, conscious mind doesn't see it.
How can I reprogram myself if I'm so much, acting out of my subconscious mind and not the conscious mind, which my conscious mind, it's only 5%. My subconscious mind, it's 95%. So how can I really get in touch with that 95% and literally reshape it, resize it, download new programs? How can I install them and act out of new programs?
Well, that's the most important question in the world because that's where freedom comes from. So let's deal with that. And it comes from this. The first thing is this, is that the programs were put into your mind from the last trimester of pregnancy, just a few months from before you're born. This is why a child, when they play music for the baby, well, it's still a fetus, and they play the music near the abdomen of the mother so the fetus can hear it. When the fetus is born, if you play the music, the fetus automatically knows that music. So it means what? It was learning the music while it was still a fetus. I go, yeah, but it learns a lot of other things. Learning starts while even before you're born, because the mind is recording the environment, what's happening. And this happens all the way up to age 7. But then the issue is this. Well, what program did I get when I was 0? I wasn't there. Consciousness didn't start until about 7. So I have no memory of what's the program I got when I was 1 or 2, or even before I was born, I got programmed. I go, I don't know. And they say, well, how am I going to find out the programs because I want to fix my life? And I go, fun part, fun. Here's why it's fun. 95% of your life is coming from the subconscious programs.
Of course.
So by definition, your life is a printout of your programs. You're living, your programs are playing in front of you 95% of the time. You don't have to go back in history. Your program is right now. So you look at your life, and here's the fun part. You look at your life, and everything that you like that comes to you, you don't have to worry about it. Why? Because you have a program that allowed it to be in your life. That's why it's there. But the one I need you to pay attention to, and this is the one that's really critical, is anything you want, but you have to work hard for it. You have to sweat over it. You have to put a lot of effort, make it happen. I'm working on it. Why are you working so hard? The answer, inevitably, is whatever that destination is, you don't have a program to support it. That's why you're working hard. You're working against yourself. Your subconscious mind doesn't believe in that outcome. Your conscious mind says it does. And I say, well, how much is the conscious mind taking you there? And I go 5% of the time. And I go, well, that's your problem, because 95% of the day, your subconscious doesn't believe in that, and it will sabotage it. Because
can I fake it until I make it?
We didn't make this little statement. What's that?
Can I fake it until I make it?
Yes, that's an important way of learning. That is an important way of learning, because I say, well, let's say I see a program. I say, I'm having trouble with relationship. I'm having trouble with health. I'm having trouble making money. I go, oh, well, then your beliefs don't support that. So what you want to put in is a belief that does support it. So, but you already know what you want because that's not what you're getting. So you say, oh, I want to be healthy. I am healthy. You say, I am healthy. And I say, well, you might have cancer. I go, I have to say I'm healthy every day. I go, why? Because one of the main ways the subconscious mind learns is repetition, practice. That's how, for the first 7 years, the subconscious mind was in state of hypnosis, the functioning of the brain, electroencephalograph, brain activity.
Yeah.
Was a low vibration called theta. Theta is hypnosis.
Hypnosis.
So for 7 years, dominant activity is hypnosis. After age 7, you can still learn new, like you drove a car. I said, yeah, but you didn't just drive a car because you wanted to. You had to go in and practice driving a car. Practice repeating it and repeating it. I mean, go back to when you were much younger. Let's say it was in school, math class, arithmetic. You say, oh, the times table, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 4 is 8. I said, how'd you learn that? I said, you had to repeat it. You had to repeat the alphabet every day until what? Once you repeated it enough, the program is learned. I had to say A, B, C, D, E, F, and A, B, C, D, E, F, and then I get stuck. And every time I get further and further, and by the time I got to Z, I could go A to Z without making a mistake. Guess what? I memorized it. I never had to do it again. I haven't done ABCs, for years, but I can tell you right now, whatever the heck I learned when I was 7 years old is still there because I practiced it. So here's the point. The subconscious has the programs that are running 95% of the day. The struggles in your life reflect programs that do not support what you want. And if you want to change them, you have to change the program in the subconscious. Now, why it's a problem is this. People have thought, if I educate my conscious mind, my subconscious mind should automatically know it because they're two connected. I go, no. The conscious mind could be super educated. You could read a self-help book, and I give you a quiz after the self-help book, and you get 100. I go, good, you know all the rules and facts. Then I say, has your life changed now that you've read the book? The answer is, not really. I go, what's the problem? I say, the awareness is in the conscious mind, but it does not translate to subconscious. Why? Conscious mind, creative, can learn by watching this podcast. A conscious mind can learn by reading the book, go to a lecture. A conscious mind can go, aha, and a new idea is now in the conscious mind. Creative. But the subconscious mind is habit, and as a result, doesn't learn that way. So when you're reading a self-help book, you're educating the conscious mind. Yes, I know all of this. But then it doesn't translate to the subconscious because that's not how the subconscious learns. So everything you learned was above in your conscious mind, but never came into your life. And the issue is, how do you get it in your life? And I say, well, that's the two main ways. The first way is hypnosis. That's how you did the first 7 years. I said, what was that? I said, the brain was in a vibration called theta. So I said, do I have to see a hypnotherapist? And I go, no, you don't have to see a hypnotherapist. You know why? Every night as you go to bed, just when conscious mind starts to go to sleep, disconnect. The conscious mind is a higher vibration, alpha. But when you fall asleep, the moment you fall asleep, the vibration slows down. Now it's theta. So the moment your conscious mind disconnects, your brain is in theta for the next period of time. And then it even goes to a lower vibration, delta, which is out and out sleep. What's the point? Every night, just after your conscious mind starts to fall asleep, your brain is in a state of hypnosis. All you have to do is put earphones on, and as you're going to sleep, play a program of what you want to be your behavior. They're self-help programs. You can get them at all kinds of places. Louise Hay has a bunch, all self-help stores, programs that. So why is it relevant? Well, you can rewrite your program by simply going to bed every night, putting the earphones on, and playing the program and repeating that. And the repetition will encourage it to download it. And why repetition is important, because I said hypnosis is from 0 to 7. But after 7, you still learn habits. I mean, as I said, driving the car, you learned how to drive a car. I said, how'd you learn? You practiced. And I said, what's practice? You repeated it. And as long as you repeat it, it will become a program, because that's how your subconscious learns repetition
Right.
after age 7. Now, as you said, what's important about that is I want to change the program. So what does it mean? My life does not have what I want right now. So when I'm telling myself the program, I'm going to have to say it as if I already had what I wanted. Why? Yeah. And this, let's put this in a box, this little next piece. This is a box, big outline around this box. The function of the mind is to create coherence between our belief and our reality. In other words, if I have a belief that I'm going to get cancer, the function of the mind is to make sure I get cancer. If a belief is I'm going to get rich, then the function of the mind and the subconscious mind is to create behavior that will make me rich. Okay? So the mind's job is to control the behavior to match the program. That's why life is not so filled with surprises. Oh, I expected that. And I go, yeah, well, that's because that's what you were thinking, and that's what the mind created. So the function of the mind is to create reality from your program. The program could be a good program or a bad program. The mind doesn't make that decision. It just basically says, what's the program? I'm going to make reality out of it. So I say, oh, so then the weird part is here I am, let's say I have cancer. And I say, I want to change the program. So what's my program? I'm going to say, I am healthy. Well, that's not true. But I say, no, just keep saying, I am healthy, repeating it. Why? Repetition, habit. I repeat it in some way. I keep saying to myself, I am healthy, I am healthy. I say, why is that relevant? Repetition makes the subconscious program. So if I keep repeating, I am healthy, but I have cancer, my subconscious has a program that says, new program, I am healthy, but the body is not healthy. It's got cancer. So I say, but what's the function of the mind? Cure the cancer, because the function of the mind is to make I am healthy reality. And all of a sudden, my cancer goes away. And do I have to even think about it? I say, once the program is downloaded, it operates just like your programs do every day. You don't pay attention. They're operating automatically 95% of the day. So the simple, beautiful, beautiful conclusion is, if I took all the things I wanted in my life and put them in to my subconscious, either via hypnosis with earphones or repeating, and fake it till you make it is the most critical statement, because that's what the whole idea was. Is, look, I have cancer and I'm going to tell myself I'm healthy. I'm faking it. Yeah, but if I keep repeating it and the subconscious mind downloads that as a program, I can let go of repeating it. Why? Because now it's automatic 95% of the day. It's going to work to make me healthy. So the fake it till you make it is really is the big guideline that says you have to pretend you have what you already want as if you already have it. If you're not happy, you just say every day, I am happy, I am happy. And you look around and then your mind goes, maybe I'm not happy. I said, don't worry about that. Just keep saying, I am happy, I am happy. And during the day, during the repetition of that, the subconscious mind will download I am happy. And then guess what? One day you'll just wake up and not even say I am happy. Because you already did. Because the subconscious has taken it over. And that's the beautiful part. So the conclusion of all of this is so beautiful, because it says, wait a minute, I can create heaven on earth because as I've fallen in love, that's what I manifested. Now, the honeymoon doesn't last a long time, because inevitably, even if I'm being mindful and I want to keep my mind present in this new love relationship, I still have a job, a career, chores, things I got to do, which means I got to think. And this is when the honeymoon disappears, is because the honeymoon part is when you're not playing any of your programs. You're just creating from wishes and desires, which is what you want. You created heaven. I go, great, that's what you made. But once you start thinking, those negative programs that were bothering you before start to show up again. And your partner has never seen those negative programs. Why? Because you didn't play them. You've only been playing wishes of love and desire, and that's why you create. And then one day, all of a sudden, you're thinking, and when you're thinking, you default, then you start playing your mother or your father. You don't see it really, but your partner's going,
yes,
wow, what kind of behavior? And that's when the honeymoon falls apart, because at some point, we default back to the subconscious, and most of those programs are negative. And this is why people have so much trouble figuring out, how come love started out and so brilliant and blazing, and it was beautiful and it was so wonderful, and then it ends up with this? And the answer was this: because when it started out, you didn't play programs. You were being yourself.
Correct.
But as time progressed, more and more thinking came back in. You revert back to what? 5% being yourself and 95% being the program. But your partner who met you, joined with you, became that close with you, did so not with any of the programs in the subconscious, only with the wishes and desires of the conscious. And so as the subconscious programs start showing up, it ends the honeymoon, and all of a sudden life goes back to the way it was before. You might still love a person, but that heaven on earth, juicy, I can't wait to wake up in the morning and have more of this beautiful experience, that disappears. And then life becomes just like it was before, but you have somebody you love, but you lost the heaven on earth part. And the fact is, yeah, but you can reprogram that. Even if there's nobody there to love, you don't have to have somebody to love. You can just say, heaven on earth is, I love my life.
Myself. That's the first step.
And once you do this, and once you reprogram it, the joy, absolute joy is you don't even have to think about being happy. You will automatically always be happy. You will automatically perceive the planet as wonderful, healthy, heaven on earth, juicy, lovely, without any effort.
Right.
Because you're not putting any effort in to make it the way it is today either, but you don't like the way it is today. So when you change the subconscious, you just change the picture, but you don't have to put any more effort in it than you're doing right now. It's automatic. It's like, wow, freedom.
Well, once you said that the moment you change your perception, it's the moment you rewrite the chemistry of your body.
Absolutely.
And, I met you in 2011, the very first time. And I remember that literally you had me at hello, okay? My perception of you was that you are a very humble, genuine, kind, sweet human being. And now, not only that my perception has changed, you are literally my inspiration. You are really the world to me, Bruce. And I'm so blessed to have met you and have this interview with you. And definitely, I would love to continue this series. I mean, this is just the beginning of our collaboration between CBeyond Magazine and Bruce Lipton's World and Uplift Talks, actually, that I really enjoy.
So many wonderful things. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. And, all the best to you. And once again, you guys, brucelipton.com is the website that you can check out. You can definitely have a world of knowledge in the biology of belief, the honeymoon effect, the spontaneous evolution, all those 3 books that belong to Dr. Bruce Lipton. Thank you once again for an amazing interview, and so looking forward to seeing you.
I am so honored to be here with you, and I so appreciate your joy and realizing the same thing that I realize is like, oh my gosh, I don't have to be a victim. I can be a creator. And we are creators, and that's the beautiful conclusion. We're creators. Unfortunately, then we also have to own when it's not working right, we did that too. But the beautiful part is, if we know we did that, then we also know we can change that. And the moment we change, we can manifest heaven on earth for every day of life, because that is my final belief about this, is that, well, people think you die and go to heaven. I really think that's a cosmic joke. I think we were born into heaven. This is where you came to take an idea and create from ideas. You don't need the body to have the ideas, but you need the body to manifest the creation. So when you look at it, you say, well, if heaven is a creation, then I had to come to earth to manifest heaven. And so I think
heaven is on earth after all.
Yeah.
You're going to make something out of it. If you are going to believe that heaven is here, you will live in heaven.
Yes. And healthy and happy and have joy all around you.
I love it. I love you, Bruce. Thank you so much once again, on behalf of CBeyond Magazine and our audience, once again, thank you. And we are truly blessed to have you. Thank you.
I am so honored. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Bruce. I'm going to stop right now. Have an amazing day, my love. Thank you.
Thank you. I look forward to talking with you again. It's so much joy in that.
Oh my God, the pleasure is all mine.
Thank you, darling.